Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to 5 and 9 in a one-stop co-op shop, where I go over 5 things you need to know about a game in about 9 minutes or less. I'm going to shoot for that. Today I'm taking a look at Deliverance from Low End Games. This one is a fully cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing angels, the hosts of heaven, and you are ready to layeth the smacketh down on some big, bad, ugly demons. Deliverance has an explicitly Christian theme. However, you don't need to be a believer or even know a whole lot in order to get into this one. You just have to be motivated by kicking demon butt. So how does the skirmishing work in this one? There's a one-shot and a campaign mode. How do those work out? How's the theme? I'll get into all that when we go to the videotape. Disclosure, I was provided with a review copy of Deliverance from the publisher. My number 5, which is a mix, is the one-shot scenario design. So there is a campaign mode. I'll get to that in a little bit. For the one-shot, you're going to pick your angels. You're going to lay out 1 tile per angel. Draw from the battle deck, which determines the minions that are coming to fight and also where these saint tiles are going to be. For the first part of the game, you're going to thwap and kill some of the minions, save these denizens. Defeating the minions and also saving the sinners is going to get the party some XP. XP is generated in order to unlock the talents, and I'll get to this part. The core of the game really is powering up your angel, so the function of the first part of the game is to get those levels in. Once all of the enemies are defeated and all the objectives are obtained, then everything basically resets. We lay out a whole new set of battle tiles, and at a higher player count, yes, it does get pretty big. We're going to spawn a whole new set of minions and also a whole new bad guy. In this particular case, I have drawn Baal. Baal shows up. They get their own deck and change up the darkness row a little bit. And then the end of that scenario is to fly around and defeat the enemies. Now, that is a whole lot of hullabaloo. Ultimately, it works, so I'm not going to say it's a con, but I found it a little bit contrived and convoluted way of incorporating what I think is the point, which is that initial opportunity to level the characters. I think the ambition of Deliverance is that they want both in the box. They want that ongoing campaign as well as a one-shot mission that specifically gives you that leveling up. May have tried to fit a little bit too much into the same package. At least for me, it's a mix, not a con. Some people might really like this. My number 4, A Pro, is the aforementioned campaign system, which will come out initially out of this included rulebook, but there is plenty of room for expansion. There's also scenarios on the Low End Games website, plenty of content. Starts off nice and easy, simple victory condition, but then you go on, you read your flavor, lots of different ways to vary up, add different challenges, different ways to lay out the scenario, a tiered way of fighting all the bosses eventually, and my favorite, the characters level up over the campaign. You keep what you got, and then you jump in and you're ready to deal with whatever's there right away. No spoilers, but the campaign that is included does culminate in a nice, inspiring, and memorable ending. So overall, campaign is a big pro for me. My number 3 is the Angels and Demons Christian theme of Deliverance. It's a mix for me overall. I put it at 3 because some people it's going to be their number 1, their big draw to the game. Some people it's going to be their number 5 or below. They just want their skirmish game. So I split the difference, put it at 3. You get a ton of lore pieces. Every single angel on the back has a little bit of what went into its development. There is tons of lore in the rule book and the campaign book. And I think the lore is at its best when it is drawing from, taking inspiration from biblical themes, traditional themes. For example, here is a piece of lore from Shula, Keeper of Light. The opening says, from the moment God said, let there be light, Shula has been dancing in its radiance. There's no Shula in the opening chapters of Genesis, but the game wants to put itself alongside, complementing the main tradition, which is where good lore based on this kind of material should be. My difficulty is, while it did a lot with the angels and demons, what does it do with the actual Christianity? Why does it matter? Because it's mentioned in a lot of the lore. For example, this is from the rule book. So it mentions Judas Iscariot, possessed by a devil, throws that in there. Mentions our Lord hung up on a tree. Talking about the central Christian mystery of Jesus conquering the grave with his crucifixion. All of that has nothing to do with the gameplay. Some people might consider that a pro. For me, I think the game was missing a sense of humanity, a connection. Like, why do I care that angels and demons are doing their thing? As an angel, theoretically, I'm supposed to protect Jesus or defend Jesus. I have no idea. The game is silent both in lore-wise and mechanically on all that stuff. All I basically know is, demon's ugly, I'm beautiful, go kill the ugly thing. Now, I absolutely do not need this game to be preachy in any way. I just thought that some more human touches where Christian mythos meets human experience, bring out some of that drama, that could have been fleshed out a lot more. My number 2, a mix, which is the enemies and obstacles. Pro for enemy, con for obstacles. Okay, enemies first. You get a lot to choose from in terms of the minor demons as well as the bosses. Even on the game mat itself, there's a lot of different variation. Things feel right. The archer is falling back. The abomination's hard to kill, etc. The bosses, when you have to deal with them, are nice and impactful. And then there is a system, at least for the demons, where you can buff them with major and minor effects, especially in the campaign context. Really changes up play if you are dealing with an agile cruel archer or an immolated cruel archer. And then for the bosses, they have their own particular talent, so that mixes things up a little bit. Run into some corner case issues where either it'll make it really easy or really hard. The cone of possibility in terms of what you'll encounter from scenario to scenario is very wide. However, for the most part, I think they did a decent job balancing the complexity versus what you get out of it. Thought it was pretty well done. The part that is difficult for me, which may not be so difficult for you, is the skirmish nature of the game. Really, you are going around and you are trying to position to thwap, thwap, thwap. Even going through the campaign book, you look at victory condition, destroy something. I don't have a lot of reason to really want to go to different corners of the board. If I am not doing core attacky stuff, it means something is in my way. So it's like, okay, I need to rescue the sinner. The sinners aren't very exciting. Feels a little bit more like homework, rescuing them. Or like these walls over here, that presents obstacles. Thematically weird, I'm an angel. I should just be able to do this. But there's some rules in there, and it's really the only reason I have to do not move forward and attack. Putting more interest around making me go after different things would make this more of an adventure game and not a skirmish game. Maybe that's not what the designers wanted, but in terms of my own enjoyment, I would have appreciated a few more nods in that direction. My number 1, and honestly the reason that people are going to come to Deliverance, is the hero play. Definite pro. So we got lots of different options. For angels, I have Michael and Shula here. The basic way that they work offers a lot of variability and fun. The angels, as far as I've explored, do feel very different, where Michael is more of an attack paradigm. Shula is more support oriented. You have your crowd control moving around a lot of those different paradigms that you're used to in games like this. There's also a currency version. I have the nicer version of Deliverance that gives these nice tokens. You add tokens with certain actions, and then you spend them on more powerful actions, adding and subtracting, adding and subtracting. A lot of times when you're adding, you're also adding these one-shot prayer cards, which are going to also give you more temporary buttons to push. All that is fun. And then you get to the leveling. So characters are going to get XP, spending them along the way, depending on what mode you're playing. You are going to get the draw from your talent pool. Each character has 15 talents total, 5 in the levels. You pick, and then you get a minor power, depending on what you want, what the scenario wants, etc. And then you'll be able to level 1, 2, 3. Every character has 15 cards for leveling. Not that I've explored this whole deck. There is a little bit of repetition to fatten that deck out, but I did find that over multiple plays, you can craft your character to feel very different. Oh, that's not all. You also have some items that you can get along the way, which are going to improve your stats, give you another little benefit. If you are a player that wants to revel in character creation and customization, Deliverance has a lot to offer. Final thoughts time. There's a couple of reasons why Deliverance isn't quite the game for me. Number 1, it is very much in the skirmish direction of things. If I'm going to play a minis game, it's going to be more on the adventure end, where I have my bags of hit points in front of me, but there's lots of reasons to explore the environment or interact with it in order to accomplish a victory. Or if I'm playing a skirmish game, there's at least a few of those elements in there. I think Deliverance goes in a pretty solid direction that way. Not too many reasons to kind of get pulled around. So not quite my taste. Number two, the theme, it is angels and demons. And while there's some things I appreciate about the approach, for me, again, I would prefer a story that was a little bit more grounded, had highlighted the humanity of it, to give me reason to be invested and care besides kind of the coolness factor. Having said all that, if you like what you saw, if you like the big angels and demons motif, and you get into that, big cosmic battle aspect, does a good job. I didn't mention the art in my review. The art is pretty stunning. I hope what I revealed speaks enough for itself. In terms of the skirmish aspect, there's a lot to like. Like I said, the number one is the hero play. If what you saw appeals to you, then it is going to deliver that experience in spades. As always, my ultimate sincere hope is that I've given you enough information to see if this is worth your gaming time and or your gaming dollar. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you that we'll see you at the next stop.